Has Malakai Black's AEW exit been confirmed? We'll talk about it. Plus, we've got WWE's backstage reaction to CM Punk's comments on Hulk Hogan and future WrestleMania plans. Little update for you there as well. It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. Right, restart the counter.
I feel like it's always me and you when it comes to the Malakai Black
It's
news.
always me and you.
Yeah.
As we restart for another week, click, click. Is Malakai Black leaving AEW? Well, something that we saw on Dynamite TE last night suggests very much yes.
Yeah, so if you recall 2 weeks ago on Dynamite, Will Ospreay told Buddy Matthews that he and Brody King didn't need a leader, referring obviously to Malakai Black. And from here, obviously, as you know, as we've put the counter back multiple times, reports emerged that Black was due to depart the company imminently, expected to be a free agent next month. However, last night, a vignette aired on Dynamite with Buddy Matthews, Brody King, Julia Hart, and a little doggo.
Look at the doggo!
It was
we
so
don't need
cute.
a leader, but we've got a lead.
That's good. And they were saying the voice that guided them has gone silent and they'll no longer live in the shadows, saying no leaders, no gods, no masters, just violence. When we bark together. No. He did that one. There we go. This confirms that Malakai Black is done with the House of Black at least, and could very well also be done with AEW. However, Brody King and Buddy Matthews have been trademarking Hounds of Hell and Cerberus as well, teasing that the House of Black could be getting a new name. I think Cerberus kind of works because that's the three-headed dog, and there's three of them with Brody, Buddy, and Julia.
What about the other dog? What about the dog? What about the other dog? What about the dog itself?
Is that going to be a part of the...
Three-headed dog and a dog.
And a dog. That sounds like a
three-headed
sitcom.
dog and a dog. It's a sitcom.
Three men and a baby, three-headed dog and a dog.
I like this. I like the idea of a sitcom called Three-Headed Dog and a Dog. What wacky adventures they would get up to. I hope the dog becomes a regular part. I mean, obviously, I know we're talking about Malakai Black's AEW status, but can we talk about the dog for a second?
It's a very cute dog.
I think the dog should be the feature part of the character. Now, my only concern would be bringing a dog to a show like that where there's lots of pyro.
Which we've seen before, and it's very upsetting to see something like that.
I don't want to scare the doggo, but I would like the doggo in some way to have a feature role in the new faction.
I don't know if this is the right demographic, right? But I was literally, you might not know either, but in Elden Ring, there's this boss called Radahn who sits on this tiny horse, and he is like comically big. And I feel like Brody King coming down to the ring on small dog would be quite fun.
On a little chihuahua?
Yeah, I apologise if that's gone straight over lots of people's heads there, but yeah. Do you know what? Regardless of all the jokes, I'm very, very excited to see what they do, because I feel like I feel like everybody knows they've got so much potential, and it feels like Tony's been showcasing that a little bit more recently as well, especially in the singles matches that Buddy and Brody have been having, Julia as well. I'm just really excited to see where they go, and if they manage to just like jettison a little bit further than they have done before.
What's going to be a trickier challenge then? Completing Elden Ring or going a week without talking about Malakai Black in AEW?
Probably the Malakai Black one, I'm not going to lie.
You can at least get past the first boss on Elden Ring. On Raw this past Monday, we had CM Punk speaking about Hulk Hogan very briefly, talking about if he entered the Rumble, he'd throw his dusty ass out and kill Hulkamania forever. A good comment that got a loud reaction from the crowd in Texas. Fightful reporting, those we spoke to claim that CM Punk's Hulk Hogan line was not scripted, but there was no heat for it all, and people laughed about it backstage.
How could you not laugh about
It's
it
a funny line.
backstage?
Hogan obviously still involved in the company via the fact that the Real American Beer is a sponsor with the company. So Real American Beer is going to be on the canvases for a long time. But obviously Hogan's still apparently set to appear at Saturday night's main event.
Oh, and interesting.
I'm curious whether or not they lean into the fact that he gets booed.
Maybe they do the Hollywood Hogan thing. I know they were saying like, well, we don't want to do that and try and get someone over. That's like, dude, that's not what we're all about. But I feel like maybe they would lean into it a little bit at least.
I think there's obviously some people. I think some people made it a political thing, and there are some arguments for that. But I genuinely think that people might bite on it as a meme and just boo Hogan at wrestling shows. I don't think.
Oh, but then he leans into it, and then
if he comes out as NWO Hogan,
which I mean,
That's him leaning
I
into
guess
it.
we'll see. I guess we'll see at Saturday night's main event.
We will certainly see. Hey, this is intriguing. So Dragon Lee has been off TV for a little while, and everybody's gone, oh, what's going on there? He's the WWE Speed Champion. He should be front and centre. However, he's got a very good reason for not being on telly.
He sure does. He shared an update on his Instagram saying, I don't usually share my personal stuff, but I do want to do it today because I am happy and anxious, because in a few days, I will hold in my hands my new princess that is on the way. She could arrive today, tomorrow, the day after, this weekend, or even next week, but she is coming. So I am very excited to receive my second princess. Well, actually third, counting on my first child and my wife. I'm such a sweet guy. That's been the reason why I haven't been at work recently. I've been helping my wife, but you will see a stronger Dragon Lee and giving my best, as I always do, inside that ring soon, sending hugs to everyone. As Tom mentioned, he is a speed champion, so why is he not front and center? And he's expected to defend the title against Chad Gable or Chris Sabin in the coming months, which will be a nice little matches there.
Oh my God, yeah.
Lovely.
Just a lovely time had there. But there you go. His princess is on the way. Should be arriving today, tomorrow, or the day after, or this weekend. The thing is, if you're a Prime subscriber, it's guaranteed by 1 p.m. But congratulations, Dragon Lee. You're becoming a Dodo once more.
Absolutely.
That's lovely news. This is very intriguing. TNA, who have had a weird old week this week, what with titles being destroyed, Joe Hendry becoming the man and calling out John Cena, the strange, somewhat fractious relationship we've seen between Jordan Grace and Tessa Blanchard as Jordan Grace leaves, Josh Alexander leaving as well. But they continue to make some headlines because they've just announced a live episode of TNA Impact being recorded in Winter Park, Florida at Full Sail University.
Ooh.
For those long in the tooth, Full Sail is the former home of NXT before they moved to the Shed.
Yeah.
This is between 2012 and 2020. This is where they taped all the episodes of NXT, and now they tape an Impact there.
A brilliant venue as well. It always looked brilliant. Like Black and Gold era NXT always looked. It just had a nice and the crowd was so good because the crowd was obviously there for NXT. It was they always felt very energetic, very ravenous for the action. And I feel like TNA being in a venue like that is gonna be great.
I like the idea of them maybe bringing some NXT talent from WWE's current NXT to that taping in Full Sail.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Being an interesting little development on that one. There's a live TNA Impact tonight, by the way. They don't do live ones very often. And tonight it's going to be a history maker because tonight, for the first time, WWE titles are being defended in TNA itself. We're going to have the NXT tag titles defended. Fraxium putting them up against the Rascals.
Oh, that's going to be so good. Joe Hendry's going to be there, right, as well?
Joe Hendry celebrating. Now he's the boy. Now he's the TNA World Champion. And maybe they'll address what's happening with the digital media title.
Who knows?
Hopefully nothing. Just look, I'm a big TNA guy, as you know. Digital media title. I mean, if that stayed in the bin, I'd be all right with it.
I feel like with it not being on their website, I think there's a good chance it might be gone forever. As it falls into the abyss of the internet.
And off it goes. Will WrestleMania forever remain stateside and sometimes Canada? Or will it be international? We have an update on that for you right now.
We sure do. So obviously it was reported this week that WrestleMania looks to be returning to New Orleans in 2027. The mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, was asked via a spokesperson about this and what this means for a possible WrestleMania in the UK. Now, the spokesperson said London has great pedigree in hosting the biggest international sporting events from around the globe. The mayor remains determined to bring even more sports from around the world to London, including the first international WrestleMania hosted by the UK, and continues to discuss future opportunities. The mayor wants to cement London's reputation as the undisputed sporting capital of the world as we work together to build a better London for everyone.
So, I mean, it's going to be interesting how the next few months pan out because the road to WrestleMania is paved in the United Kingdom.
It is, isn't it?
Whole series of Raw tapings, SmackDown tapings, live events that are taking place here in the UK ahead of WrestleMania in Vegas. I wonder whether we'll get some announcements about maybe a future PLE in the UK coming up. We've been, WWE have really embraced the fact that they are world wrestling entertainment in the last couple of years, more than I think they ever have. And we know there's plans for another pay-per-view in France.
Yep.
Wonder whether they'll do another one in the UK this year after these Raw, or whether the Raw shows are just sort of placating us.
I guess with Road to WrestleMania as well, they tend to, or at least sort of like in the Triple H era, at least they seem to have packed them out as well, don't they? They really like build to these big stories and have big moments happen on them. So maybe that is like the sort of the what would the word be? The here you go. You can have this instead, sort of
consolation.
The consolation. That's
consolation
it. Which
prize.
isn't a bad thing at the same time, because as you say, like there's so many of these shows happening. Is it also just to test the waters too on the road to WrestleMania, whether the crowds will bring it in old Londonia?
One will find out. For the very latest wrestling news at any time of the day, you can check out cultaholic.com. Kiss, kiss.
I love you. Bye.